Thank you so much for joining us today. Today I have in the studio with me a very special guest. Everyone, please welcome Bryan Johnson of Nashville Electric Transportation. Good morning, Bryan.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks so much for having us out today.
So tell me about Nashville Electric Transportation.
We're really excited with Earth Day coming up to celebrate our fourth year in business. We started out in early 2017, taking our first passengers, and with obviously the pandemic over the last year, there have been a lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs over that 4 years, but we're really excited. We've staffed back up and we're kind of ready to relaunch things a little bit here this spring. So we're excited to be here and excited to talk with you guys about Teslas.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so nice that some things are starting to open back up in Nashville. I bet you guys are excited for some concerts and things. I believe you carry people from place to place, except a little bit of a twist to it,
Yeah,
right?
that's our whole thing is getting people safely and really the safest way possible on the streets these days from point to point. We also do hourly bookings where somebody, we have surprisingly a lot of teenagers that'll want to have our car and a driver by the hour to take them and their friends around. Specifically, our Model X is real popular for that. But a huge majority of our business is from point A to point B. It's folks going to the airport, not wanting to leave a vehicle, especially an electric vehicle for many days at the airport can be a real challenge. Folks going to concerts, folks going to sporting events, and as more people are getting vaccinated, more things are opening up in our community, those things are going to really start to come back in force, and we're really excited to see that happen.
Awesome. So I personally, I really don't like riding in an Uber. I'll be honest. It sketches me out. Most of the time, if I could, I would just rather ride in a Tesla. So it's really cool that you have this service here in Nashville. What is your fleet like? What kind of cars do you guys have?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we've had, different configurations over the 4 years we've been in business. Right now, we have a fleet of 5 vehicles, all Teslas. With it being Nashville Electric Transportation, we have the ability in the future to partner with other providers of vehicles. But right now, to this point, there's not another luxury vehicle in the market that is as reliable, as safe, and can charge as quickly. Because in our line of work, we need these cars to be out driving around a lot, and we need to deplete that battery and be able to put the energy back in pretty quickly. So currently, to your specific question, we have 4 Model S's, and then we have 1 Model X. So a total of 5 vehicles, 4 sedans, and the 1 SUV.
Wow. So charging network is probably fairly important for your business.
Hugely important. Yeah, it's the biggest reason why we can make this work with electric vehicles. Again, 4 years ago, it was much different even than it is right now. There have been, just in Nashville proper, 2 superchargers that have opened since we've been in business. So those both, every time one opens, it really improves things. We've got another one that's being built out in West Nashville at the Nashville West, right off Charlotte Pike and the interstate. So that one, again, expands the network and helps to handle all these new Teslas that are coming into Tennessee, and you see them more and more every day. It's not quite as rare as it was 4 years ago when we first started.
Yeah, used to be a Tesla was quite the UFO back in the day.
It was a unicorn for sure.
Yeah. What about the Cybertruck? Do you think you guys will get one of those?
Yeah, we've actually got reservations in for 2 Cybertrucks right now. I think the 6-passenger configuration with all the luggage, as much work as we do back and forth to the airport, I think it's really going to be, a huge hit for us. And I think it's kind of like when we first used our Model X. Every time you pull up, even today, it kind of just blows people's minds when the doors go up. And I think the Cybertruck, just as different than anything else on the road it's going to be, I think it's really going to blow people's minds as soon as we can get those out on the road too.
Yeah, I agree. So I saw on your website that Nashville Electric Transportation is very much focused on safety. You guys have some very good background checks going on. A question I have, though, is why would you start a business with electric vehicles versus internal combustion engine vehicles?
Sure. Well, it was really at the heart of my business partner and I why we did this. My friend growing up, Will Hogue, who's a singer-songwriter and a well-known artist in Nashville, he and I grew up together in Franklin, just south of Nashville, and we saw traffic just change a lot over the years. We both happen to believe in climate change. Everybody doesn't, and that's okay. Some of our passengers probably don't think of it the same way we do, but we saw things really changing in Nashville, traffic continuing to get worse and worse, more congestion. At the end of the day, we also are husbands and we're fathers and we're sons. And so we wanted to come up with something that could be safe for our parents. Specifically, to put my mom in a car with a driver, I want to know that driver is safe. I want to know that vehicle is safe. Same thing with my wife. Same thing with my daughter. And Will has a family too. And so really that was at the heart of why we started with electric vehicles, to do something that was going to be good for the environment, to do something that was going to be good for traffic in Nashville, and something that we could really feel safe putting our loved ones and our friends and family in.
Well, yeah, that's a profound answer there. Safety is so important. People get injured and killed in automobile accidents, unfortunately, all the time. And the Model S and Model X, the vehicles in your fleet, there's really not much of a safer option out there on the road at all.
There really isn't. I mean, again, the number of millions of miles that a Tesla will go through before having any kind of a car fire versus a regular internal combustion engine, even the most expensive, nicest luxury brand out there, is staggering how much less often it happens in a Tesla. So the safety that's built into the vehicles, the alerts that it's giving you to help keep you at an appropriate speed inside the lane lines, all those things that are built in. Yeah, I know I can feel comfortable if my wife and her friends, I'm hoping, my wife's a big Beyonce fan. I hope Beyonce is going to come back soon. And I know I can put them with one of our drivers, her and her friends, to go out and have a great night. And I'll know they're going to get there safe, and I know they're going to get home safe. And that peace of mind is worth something to me, and I think to a lot of Nashvillians.
Yeah, owning a transportation-related business, safety is a huge burden for the founders. It's something that is going to be near and dear to your heart, is how safe are my customers out there on the road. So that's amazing that not only do you have some really well background checked drivers, but your cars are super, super safe. In fact, I saw the CEO, Elon, was talking on the Rogan podcast recently about how you can have a different airbag experience in an accident with a Tesla depending on your weight, how you're sitting in the vehicle, whether or not you're buckled. The airbags deploy differently based on the actual physical situation of the person in the seat. So they have some really nerdy stuff going on with safety there. It's really cool.
It is, and they're always pushing the envelope. The other thing, there's many things that I love about these vehicles, but one of them is they're constantly improving. Our first vehicle we bought in January of 2017 is a vastly different vehicle today than it was when we picked it up in January 2017. It's gotten over-the-air updates that have made it safer, that have made it, given more feedback to the driver to try to keep that car out of harm's way. So yeah, the idea that they are continually pushing the envelope to make these cars safe is really, really important.
What's the policy for you for Autopilot?
We have it off. So
Right.
all the safety features that can help to assist the driver, we have those enabled. We have those. We train the drivers on how to react to them, how to expect them, how to prevent them as much as anything. But we don't want autopilot on. We want our drivers driving the car. There still is that generation, a bit older than us. You're a little younger than me, but even older than us, who don't necessarily trust computers and trust the car. And so we want to make sure our drivers are always in control. We ask them not to use cruise control. That's something that's been around since I was a kid. Cruise control is pretty established, but we want the driver 100% in control of the vehicle. We do want them to take advantage of every one of those safety features that can help them to avoid incidents, but we want them fully focused and fully in control at all times.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a big difference between a professional driver, like what Bryan's talking about, and your average driver. A professional driver is probably going to be as good or better than any driver assistance program out there. So that's good. Autopilot's still in development. Technically, it's still in beta, so it's a good idea if you do have a transportation business, probably not to have the car driving itself more than the professional driver. That's a good idea. As far as your fleet, do you see any need to do any changes to the vehicles? Do you feel like you need to get a 2021 Model S or Model X, or are the current ones holding up well as far as wear goes?
They really do well in terms of the wear. They build the vehicles very well. There's a few things, the door handles on a Model S. If you drive it 50,000 miles and your warranty goes out, you're going to probably have an issue with the door handle at some point. But that's a really minor thing in the grand scheme of things. We have, a couple of vehicles, one in particular that's over 200,000 miles. That's a lot of miles to put on a car.
Wow, 200K.
Yeah.
Does it seem like it has 200K?
No, we have people get in it all the time that would feel like it's a new vehicle. To your question about brand new ones, I think with the new Raven sort of infrastructure that's coming out. There's going to be a little different look to the interior if they really come through with the yoke instead of the steering wheel. You know, with the monitors that are now going to be able to be viewable from the back seat. Some things like that are really going to make a brand new Model S stand out from a 2015 or a 2016 or a 2019 or even a 2020. So there may be a need to refresh some, but these vehicles are really well put together. They, have a really great warranty that comes with them. The battery life is great. The battery memory, losing a little bit of your charge range as you go, those things have really been eye-opening to us as we've gone as to just how robust the vehicles are. So there will be a time that they age out, but I don't think it's coming up very quickly.
Yeah, so that actually, I'm curious about that. So you have direct experience with 5 different Tesla vehicles. Tell us about the batteries, because as Tesla owners, we are always wondering, is my car going to lose range if I drive it quite a bit, and how much, and what should I be charging it to? You're somebody who has actually probably some of the answers that we're looking for as owners. We would love to hear your thoughts on how much to charge it to, and do the batteries seem to degrade over lots of use?
There is a little bit of degradation that will come over time. The big thing I'd say from our experience is if you can keep from charging it all the way to full regularly, I think that makes a big difference. That's the one most noticeable thing I'll say is we try to not go all the way to 100%. We also, have seen how much more quickly they charge at the supercharger locations when you have the battery closer to empty than full. And so I think there's some real efficiencies to charging just the way we use them that we have learned. So yeah, just staying away from charging all the way to full, especially when you're going to be using the high voltage chargers. I think it's less of an issue if you're at home. If you're using a home-based charger, even a 220 level 2 type charger, I think it's a little bit less, but yeah, my biggest recommendation would be setting it to about 90% and then living there. And if you need to go out of town and take that longer trip, then yeah, go ahead and charge it to 100%, but I wouldn't make that a habit.
Okay. Yeah, that really matches with some of the recommendations that I've seen online as well. Have you seen people rent a driver in a Tesla kind of as an experience for, should I get an electric vehicle? Do you see people that are kind of shopping it and want to experience the car?
I think so. Yeah, we had a bit of that. More than anything, we get teenagers who it's a birthday thing. It's my daughter's 16th birthday, and she has 4 friends, and they want to go to dinner. And so I'm going to chaperone them and take the 5 of them to dinner. But we want to do something that's a little bit nicer. And most of the times, these are folks who have really nice cars in their driveway. But when we pull up with a Model X and the doors go up, and 6 people can get in it with our driver, that's a little bit of a different experience. So we do have a fair number of folks who are interested in Teslas, and that's why they come to us.
I want to bring up something that Bryan had mentioned that's actually super interesting to me. It seems like the kids are the ones that really know that Teslas are cool. They are the ones that are like, I know I'm going to buy a Tesla, and I really like it when my friends have Teslas, and I'm going to go to school, get a good job, and get a Tesla, or start my own business and get a Tesla. They're really what people want now, the young people want, and I think that's a huge sign of huge change. It's gone from like the Range Rover and the Escalade and the Lamborghini and the Ferrari and the Corvette as being the cool cars that the kids want, to these electric vehicles. And I think that's a very telling thing. Bryan, do you have any kids?
I do. I've got an 8-year-old. Well, she'll be 8 later, I guess about a month from now. So my daughter Piper turns 8 in May. So yeah, we joke. I don't know that my daughter will ever drive a car. I feel like right now our drivers are always going to be in charge of our vehicles, but by the time she gets a driver's license, how much further is the technology going? If you compare right now to 8 years ago, where self-driving wasn't and where it is now, I wonder if she'll ever have to sit behind the steering wheel or ever really learn to drive. But yeah, the kids, there's a children's generation that's coming up, and it's the, like you said, it's the status symbol almost, and the fact that it's also super safe. If I had a teenage driver, and that's kind of stills my heart for a second to think about a teenage driver in my house, but if I had one, if there was any way I could do it and make it work, I'd want him to be behind the wheel of a Tesla.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's dream a little bit here. Let's think about the future, about maybe 2030 or so. Do you believe that Tesla will have solved full self-driving by then?
Gosh, I think so. Just my personal opinion. Not speaking for our company, or certainly not a mouthpiece for Tesla, but I think they will. If I look at where this company's gone, the first Model S is rolled off the line, which was the first real true production vehicle in 2012. They're just now coming out of warranty. With what they've done from 2012 to 2014 to our first vehicle was a late 2016 build we picked up in January of 2017, to how much they've improved since then. If the trajectory continues, and there's a lot of smart people working there along with Mr. Musk, if that trajectory continues, I can't help but think they will. They've learned so much already. I think it'll happen. What's your take on it?
I believe that there will be a robo-taxi network by 2030, but I also think that there's going to be a pretty long adoption phase, and perhaps this will never go away, where someone will want someone like Nashville Electric Transportation to have a driver in the driver's seat, not just to make sure the vehicle is safe, because it will probably be pretty demonstrably safe by then, but to assist with passengers, to be somebody that's there, that's in charge of the ride. And I think people will be a lot more comfortable, even if the car is fully self-driving, if there is somebody in the driver's seat. What's your take on that?
That's really been our thought all along, Chris, is we think there will be huge advancements in the safety of the vehicles, but it's going to be hard for that car to give you a really good restaurant recommendation based on them being a professional who drives around this city all day. Not all day. Our drivers have shifts. They don't drive an unsafe amount. But if you're in the car driving passengers around, you hear, oh, wow, that restaurant's really new and up and coming. You can get a great restaurant recommendation from our drivers. I still don't know how he's going to make the chargers go into the cars when they're self-driven to a charging location. But once he figures that out, I don't think he's going to be able to figure out how to get people's luggage into the back of the car. Because that's one of the things our drivers do. They're going to open the door for you. They're going to pick your luggage up when you're going to the airport. They're going to get it in nice and safely into the back of the car. That extra level of almost a concierge level, I think people, especially in Nashville, and we have dreams to grow outside of Nashville, but especially in Nashville, in this community my business partner and I grew up in, I think people still do appreciate that personal touch to be able to say, oh yeah, maybe you do want to go to Broadway one night you're in town if you're in from out of town, but hey, maybe there's a few other parts of town that are really hidden gems that aren't on the national news media, and you don't have neon honky tonks open till 3 a.m. If you want to do that, we can take you to do that. But if you want to find something else that's a little different, that kind of concierge level is really something that sets us apart. The other thing kind of along that lines is we still have a phone number that's Nashville based, and a human being in Nashville, Tennessee is going to pick up the phone if one of our customers has a question. Oh, hey, I want to get a car a little bit quicker than the app says I can. Well, a human being in Nashville is going to answer that call. It's probably going to be me, and we're going to try to make that happen for you. So that level of human interaction, I agree with you. It may be diminished over time, but I just don't see it going away, at least in my lifetime.
I agree. In fact, I think as long as human beings are in in these meat suits and we're not in silicon, as long as human beings are flesh and blood, I predict that human interaction will be the premium experience, that people will always want that human connection, and people will be willing to pay more for it. So yes, while I think that the Tesla robotaxi network will be a thing, I don't think everybody's going to like it. And that will be no matter how long it has existed. There will always be a market for somebody in the vehicle there to help you, to assist you, no matter how robotic and AI driven we get. That's just my belief. Human connection is going to be huge, especially in the world of self-driving cars and AI. People will really want that. Bryan, what thoughts do you have for our viewers to close this out?
Well, I just want to really thank you and thank the viewers for taking time to watch us. I'm so excited that I believe the presidential administration that's in here now, and I don't want to talk about politics, but they're really focusing on electric cars being a big part of the infrastructure that's going to be changing. I think that's good for our environment. I think that's good for our country. And I think that's really exciting for electric vehicle owners. So I'm excited to hear more people talking about Teslas. From where we were 4 years ago, I hear people talking about it more and more and more. And, my younger sister got a Model 3. It's something that, a normal family family, an average family, can now begin to, and used Teslas are also really well taken care of, usually really safe as well. There's now a much wider range of the market. When we started in 2017, the cheapest vehicle you could buy is probably close to $80,000. That really limited the number of people who could benefit from this technology. Now today, whether it's riding with us or getting yourself a Model 3 or a Model Y or a used Model S, this kind of technology is open to so many more people. So we're just really excited about that. The other thing we wanted to do is offer to your viewers, people who are going to see this, and also members of the Tesla TN board that I believe you're one of the moderators on Facebook.
Yes,
is that right?
I am. I do serve. As a moderator on there, and have had a lot of fun doing it. I'm the SpongeBob SquarePants of the moderators.
Well, we really appreciate that there are groups out there. I've learned things from that message board. I've learned things about, oh wow, maybe there's a different detailing guy we should take a look at, or I know more about the charging things because of all the great members of the board who post pictures of, here's the new cabinet that's gone in Nashville West. So just to thank you and to thank all the viewers and the people on that page, we're going to offer from now till the end of May, a 20% discount for any ride that anybody uses the code TESLATN. So TESLATN. If you download our app, it's on the App Store. If you search the Net Booking app, so the Net Booking app, you download that, you put in that discount code, and you're going to get 20% off any ride the rest of April and all of May. So we're excited to do that just because we know folks that are already that interested in Teslas or Tesla owners already know how great these vehicles are. And if you're going someplace where you don't want to drive your Tesla, why don't you let us drive you there in a Tesla?
Man, I do not like riding in internal combustion engine vehicles, and a 20% discount code is awesome. Thank you so much for your generosity, Bryan. And it's been really fun to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming in today. And we look forward to talking to you again soon and getting more updates about the business.
Absolutely, Chris. Well, I'll encourage folks out there, if you have questions for Chris that we haven't thought about chatting about today, about maintenance, about tires, about gosh, alignment's a big issue with Teslas. Whatever you have, if you reach out to Chris and there's enough of a clamor, we'll be happy to come back and talk more.
Wonderful. Y'all, thanks for watching. Drive safe. I'm Chris Rimbolt. Have a great day.